Ali Hassan Zafar to grace this event by reciting few verses of Khalifa.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى والآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah. Now I request Professor Dr. Noor Muhammad Khan to formally welcome the guest and present him with a bouquet. Thank you so much, sir. Today, the topic of discussion is project risk management. Our honorable speaker, Mr. Shoaib Sarwar, is a seasoned civil engineer and a structural engineer from UET Lahore and a certified project management professional from Project Management Institute. He also holds an ACOS certification in health and safety from England. At present, he is pursuing Executive MBA from Lumps University. With over 26 years of professional experience, Engineer Shoaib possesses a unique blend of technical and business management expertise in the field of civil engineering and project management. Please join me to welcome Engineer Muhammad Shoaib Sarwar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you very much, sir, and Madam Aksa, giving me opportunity coming over here for delivering a lecture on risk management. Let me have a very brief 2 minutes introduction of myself. As the student was told that I am graduate of this university. Many decades back, I used to sit over here, and it's feeling very strange. I'm sitting on the other side of the table at the desk. Thank you very much for that. I did my graduation in '98. Then academically, I did my master's in structure from here, UT Lahore in 2009. And recently, I am doing my executive MBA program. And professional career, I started my career with Ghazi Baroda Hydrocarbon project in '98. Then I joined in 2003 at the end of the completion of the project. I joined JGC Descon. Through the platform of JGC Descon, I used to have some assignments in Middle East, oil and gas assignments in Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Arabia. Later in 2009, I joined Casco, that is Qatar Fertilizer Company. We remained there for almost 9.5 years. And in 2017, we came back. We means my family. We came back to Pakistan, and I joined Fatma Fertilizer. And till today, I'm there in Fatma Fertilizer as project manager. Well, today I will discuss regarding the risk management. That what is the risk, and what does it mean with respect to the projects. The civil engineering or the civil engineers, the most job of the civil engineers are doing the projects, right? These projects can be of the design nature. You may be doing the designing work, designing a building, designing a colony, designing a bridges, or designing anything, or you may be doing the execution of the projects. Maybe on a job basis, or maybe if you're running your own business, but mostly you will be dealing with the projects. So what does it mean with the risk in the project? Let me start briefly with the introduction, the straight introduction between the project and what is the organizational work, right? Can you spot the difference in these two pictures? One is the Honda showroom or Honda factory. It's in the mall or in Mangamadi, somewhere over there, and this is the assembly line. Any difference over here from project management point of view? From project point of view, this is a project. This is a building which was constructed from scratch to this building to assemble the cars. So the construction of this building is the project, right? However, when this project is completed, the keys are handed over to the stakeholders, to the management of the Honda company or whoever it is. Then they started the production of this cars in this facility. Now the production of these cars, these are not the project, right? This is a routine work, or you can say it's an assembly line. We cannot say that this is the project. The project was this. So the project, definition of project is that it starts from zero, goes around the course, delivers something valuable, and that's all. Utilizing that project for any purpose, or it is built, it is not a project, right? Another example, difference between these two. The left side figure, the workers are constructing the roof for the first time. Anything done for the first time is a project. However, on the right side, there is an already built road which was deteriorated over the course of time, and now these workers have been devoted to repair that. So the repair work also doesn't come on the project, right? I mean, I am telling it in the definition point of view. I am not saying that they are not doing the work. No, they are doing the work, it's their job, but they cannot be classified as doing the project work. The project is something which starts from the scratch, delivers some product, and that's all. Right? So we will be discussing that what are the risks involved in doing the projects. Just some text over here. You see the difference between the project and an operational or operational work. The project always gives a unique product, service, or result. It is developing a new product or a new service, for example, developing a software. It is also a project, but once the software is built and someone is using that app, that's not a project, right? Constructing a building, manufacturing a facility, or some improvement project in an existing building, for example, over here in this room, if we have a project, if we have a work to renovate that one, that again is a project, right? Though it is being done in an existing facility, an existing thing, but it is a project, starting from the scratch to the completion. Similarly, the main difference of the project is that there is a day when it starts and there is a day when it finishes. There is always day zero and there is always day done for the project. However, for the routine and operation works, there is no end date. Assembly line at Honda, they are working since inception and they are doing that. No one can tell that up till what time they are going to deliver the vehicles. Exactly. Similarly, developing a software is a project, but once software is built, then working on the project, there is no end line. It will be used after its life. So that will not be a project. Now, coming to the project management. We have a project, for example, you are assigned, you are working in a company or you own a company and you are assigned to make a bridge of 4 lane bridge across a 100-meter river wide and you connect it to cities to reduce and the budget signed by the ministry or by the stakeholders is 500 billion, almost. And they say that the quality management system and the environment management system has to be followed. A team of 150 persons was estimated for that, and vendors, almost 8 or 9 or 10 suppliers have been identified that these will be supplying the cement, these will be supplying the sand, these will be supplying the crush and all the other materials. These have been finalized. Responsibility or the stakeholder, the one who is responsible is the one who is paying for that. It may be the government, it may be the ministry, it may be an department. They need that, they want a progress review meeting and a progress report every week that what have you done in 1 week. Similarly, there is a limitation that you have to do the safety hazards. The terrain is very tough, it may be a hilly terrain, so there are some risks of the tough terrain. The local community is very hostile, they don't want noises of the construction equipment, they don't want the dusty environment which is created because of the moving of the vehicles. So you need to take care of these things also, and at the end of the day you need to satisfy your stakeholders. So from project management point of view, the project management has a complete framework. The 4-lane bridge across a 100-meter road is a scope of that project. We say that this is the scope of that project. The schedule is 12 months. The time schedule. I have been given the 12-month time schedule. That is the time schedule for that. Similarly, you have been assigned a budget which is 500 million rupees. That is the budget of the project. All these aspects, you have to follow the quality and environmental specifications. 150 workers are your resource. Here comes the HR management, the human resource management. Suppliers, again, are the procurement. You don't own everything. You don't have the steel, you don't have the enforcement, you don't have the part, you don't have the cement, you have to buy from someone. And when there is environment, there is a procedure of procurement. You need to follow that. Similarly, the communication management. Remember, being a project management, almost 80 to 90% of the time is consumed in the communication. In talking to other stakeholders, talking to the vendor, talking to your team, talking to seniors. So communication is very important. The risks over here, safety hazards, because of the slippery roads, because of the hilly terrain. The local community, they can stop your work immediately. I mean, just imagine you are doing some road work and one nasty guy comes over and that I did not sleep last night because of the truck movement and he blocks the road. What would you do? So there are risks associated with all this. And in the stakeholder management, stakeholders are the ones that whom anyone, any person who can be affected by your project is your stakeholder. It can be your team member, it can be the one who is sponsoring that project, it can be your vendor, it can be your worker, it can be your boss. So anybody who has a link or who has a force to impact your project is a stakeholder management. So all these aspects, these are the frameworks which you might have studied in your project management course, that what is scope management, what is schedule, time management, cost management, HR management, procurement, communication, risk and stakeholders. So all these for this one project becomes a project management. This is how we manage the project. For all these things, we have different teams, different members in the organization. Let's straight away come to the risk, right? As far as we just did the introduction, just to have a synchronization with you guys. What is a risk actually? When we say we have a risk, what is the meaning of risk? Can anybody guess? Anyone? What do you understand? What do you feel about the risk? Threat of? Yes, threat. Threat to what? Yes, almost 80% correct. So you have your goals as a person, as a profession. So anything which does not allow you or which hinders you to attain your goals is a risk, right? So any activities or any event or any circumstance or any hazard which restricts you as a person and as a profession to achieve your goals is a risk. Now comes that why did this exist? This होता नहीं हो मसला क्या? Why the risk are there? Anybody again? Why we have the risks? Why? We cannot Because it's already happened. Right? India won the T20 World Cup. At this point in time, do we have any risk of India not to win that World Cup? No, because it's already happened. No one can change that. What about Arshad Nadeem? Same Arshad Nadeem, same Dheeraj, same other guy Sodali, strong guy, same fans. If we say them, okay, go today and fight again and match again, is there any risk for him to win again? Yes. So this means the difference is time. Anything which is already gone, which is the past, does not have any risk. That's already there. But anything which is going to be had in the future has an inherent risk because no one knows. Anybody is sure that whether I will live tomorrow? No. Right? Maybe 99% chances are there that I will live tomorrow. But there is 1% that I don't know. What about a person, a patient on a ventilator in CMH, ICU ward, will he live tomorrow? Maybe 95% chance he will not live tomorrow. But 5% chance he will live. So there is always an inherent risk associated with the future because future is always uncertain. Whatever you plan, how much extensive you plan, how much prepared you are, but there is always a risk. You remember, I mean, you guys, are you studying Islam and Master these days in better course? Right? We were sure at our time that we were going to be fail in that, but still there was a risk. Right? We were so sure that these are very easy that has to be structural materials and standard materials and structural analysis. But even then, we had a risk that yes, we can go fail in this. So anything associated in the future has an uncertainty. So that uncertainty is risk. And we have to control that. So that's very important. Risk is everywhere. Nothing is risk. Right? So just imagine you are planning a family trip along with your wife and your kids or your parents and brothers and sisters to Mecca when you see your road is red and you're trying to go on a car. What are the risks you foresee? Everybody does the risk analysis and they do it, but they not be doing exactly the same procedure way as the project manager says. But yes, we do sometimes. What are the risks if I say you're going to the family? I mean, there may be car accident. This is a risk, right? Your wallet can be stolen or misplaced. You just forget it at somewhere here or somewhere else. Total resolution problem. It's a full stack up season, and the people over there in Bari or in Dakya Valley, he says, sorry sir, you don't have no booking, we are cancelling your booking, and you are there with your family. What to do? Rain, you go over there, reach over there, but all the time it's raining. I mean, your visit goes to rain. What will you kids say? Car can go down. So all these are the risks involved in this project. Right? So nothing is risk-free. Just remember, nothing is risk-free. You consider it or you don't consider it. You work for it or you don't work for it. But there are always risks associated with the future things and nothing is risk-free. So what is the risk in terms of potential projects? All projects have risks associated with their completion. And the risk management process, it aims to identify those risks and to manage those risks. Right? Identifying the risk does not mean that we kill that risk or we say that we have overcome that risk and it will not occur. No. Identify and manage means that you know that this can happen, this risk can happen, and you manage somehow that if this occurs, what would you do? What would be your action plan at that time? And if these risks are unmanaged, you don't consider them, you don't do anything about them, they can harm or they can cause your potential project deviate from your plan and they will make you fail to achieve the defined project goals for which you are hired, for which you are doing your business, or for which you are doing your company, or for which you are doing your job. Right? One important thing is that overall project risk can be negative or positive. Until now, you might have impression in your minds that every risk is an adverse effect. So there are some risks which have some positive effect also. For example, due to the sort of back in 2016 or 17, there was clash between diplomatic clash between Qatar and Saudi Arabia. They have a border, a road like we have Wagah border with India. People used to commute through that border, going for Umrah, going for recreation, all these things. And most of the dairy products, milk, yogurt, laban, breads, they usually used to come from Saudi Arabia to Qatar. And they had some clash or diplomatic ties, diplomatic clash on that Israel or some issue, I don't know. And it was done so much that Saudis have blocked that road, they have blocked that border, and Qatar was just left behind with no milk supplies, with no yogurt supplies, with no dairy products, no bread, no eggs. There was very few factories. That risk, the Qatar government took it as an opportunity, and they developed their own factories and more facilities. So that risk, at the end, turned up into a positive opportunity for their economy. So all the risks are not having adverse effect. Many have the positive effect. For what's your duty as a project manager? Your duty is to identify those risks. You need to see that whether these are positive or negative. If these are negative, do something about that so that they cannot harm you much. And if they are positive, accept it. Right? Similarly, once you do the risk management, like in that second example, you may be doing the risk analysis of these things while before going 1 day or 2 days before going to the company. But risk management is an alternative and a continual process. It goes along the end of the project. It does not mean that all the risks which you have identified at day 1 or day 2 or day 3, only these will be there after day 100 or day 200 or end of the project. No, there will be many risks which will be coming along the side by side, and you have to take care of those also. Similarly, risks has to be monitored and managed as its progress as the project progresses from day 0 throughout the course of the project. Usually in the larger projects, in the bigger companies, when you have big projects, risk management is a specific division with multiple number of professionals who do only the risk management throughout the course of the project. Coming to the project management framework, project risk management, it is a framework within a project management, and in risk management, these 6 steps are involved, how to tackle or how to do the risk management, and these steps are called the processes. It's just the name of the thing, name of the step, that this is process, risk management plan. Step number 2 is identify risk. Step number 3 is perform qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis is qualitative is significant. Over here is the quantitative analysis. 5th step is the plan risk responses, and 6th step is monitor and control the risk. So all these 6 steps are called the processes of the risk management process. Right? We'll do one by one. I'll take not longer for these. What is the risk management plan? Risk management plan, step number 1. The process number 1 is basically a document. In the large company, it's a standard operating procedure to develop a procedure that how a company, oil and fuel projects addresses their risk. What would they do? If the risk comes, whose responsibility is what? Who will do what? Shoaib will do this thing. Madam Aksa will do that thing. Dr. Fulana will do that thing. So and if that thing happens, he will automatically do that. And it will not be the case like if there is an accident on the road, then everybody comes over here and nobody says, oh, doctor, no. It's a written procedure that if that thing happens, who will do what. So that is altogether a risk management process. It documents the strategic plan together, and how to cater, how to plan that. It's just a document, a standard operating procedure. It takes the risk strategy, the methodology and approach to the risk management, roles and responsibilities of the professionals. As I told that big companies have the risk department, so everybody is assigned a duty that what will you do, and the funding and timing and risk categories. All these things combined in a document in a standard operating procedure is a risk management plan. Identify risk. Identify risk is just as we did in the category plan. That is the project, there is the building project. What are the risks which we foresee or we can come along with the course of the project? Is the identify risk. Identifying the individual project risk and documenting how the balance or a negative risk. A positive risk is called an opportunity mapper. So identify the risk. And how do you do that? How do you identify the risk? There are just simple common sense. Yes, you have a project. In for example, you have to build your own house. What are the risks involved in that? Right? Simple common sense. You can work it out. Expert judgment. You can hire someone who has already done that one, and you can say, I am going to build a project, or this is the project. Can you please tell me what are the risks which can come along? You can just list down, take a list. Right? Brainstorming. Brainstorming within the group, within the team. You just have some meetings, discuss with your colleagues, discuss with peers, discuss with seniors. You can discuss with the other companies also. But okay, that's not you did that project. What can be the risk? What are the risks which you foresee over there? You can identify the risk. Data analysis. Data analysis can also be within your project also. In a company like Descon and construction company, they are not doing only one project. They did Descon did the Berani Dam project. Then later they did the Mangla basic project. So the risk which they encountered during the Berani Dam, they definitely will be over there in response governments and lesson learned. So they will be taking care of these lessons for the next coming projects. SWOT analysis, it is basically strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat analysis. This analysis is theoretical analysis which tells that for a particular activity or a system to show you what are the threats involved in that, what are your strengths in doing that project, what are your weaknesses, what are if you are going to develop a software, you will say that's my weakness, I cannot do the software, I need a person over there to come help me. Similarly, key threat, what are the threats for that project. And remember, the identifier is, as I earlier told you, that it has to be performed throughout the life cycle. Right? Throughout the life cycle means from start till the handover of the project, the risks, new risks will be coming. There will be new risks will be coming, and you have an eye on them. Otherwise, if you miss any risk, that can be prevented from your project. So process number 2, identify the risks. What is the outcome of that process? Okay, you identified that. Is it the outcome is the same that this we did for the lecture project? Exactly the same thing, but in a matrix form, in a neat and clean form. That is basically a risk register. We call it a risk register, which is a Excel sheet or a Word document which lists down all the risks you have identified. Remember, up till this point, you have identified the risk irrespective to the fact this is a big risk, this is a small risk, this is a silly risk. Someone will say, oh, come on, that's a silly risk, right? Just identify, no problem, no risk. So, and put it over here in the risk register. Let me take you a small example of Bathroom Notice. I'm working in Bathroom these days. We are planning to have a head office building at the here in DHA phase 8. It's across the international airport, Allahabad airport, across the ring road in DHA phase 8. It's almost a 22-canal land. The company owns that land, and we are planning to make a head office over there. Just in the initial stage in that moment. Initially, in inception stage, we're discussing about that. So we just develop a small risk register for that one, and I'm just referring it over here. Just some of the points. One is the right of way. The plot does not have a front access to the road. That is the risk. We have to take a road from cantonment road to make an access from the road to our plot. That is the risk. What will happen if I make a building going 5 Arab rupees or 500 or 5 Arab rupees? I make a building, and later cantonment says, sorry, we cannot give you access. Right? So this is a risk for me at home. The other is acceptance of the stakeholder final building design and change. Remember one thing in construction life, that you are technical guys, you can read the drawings and see the architectural and structural drawings, you can imagine that what that building will be. But a non-technical guy, or even you guys also, cannot completely focus or cannot completely imagine at what will it look like. It always happens. If I say, well, this is a building 100 feet wide by 300 feet wide, and it's a 12-story building, and we have a big hall, and we have some rooms over here, we have atrium there, it's a streets to be mezzanine and these sort of things, you can well imagine. What non-technical guys, the CEOs of the company, they are non-technical guys. They cannot imagine, they cannot visualize that what the building will look like. What if I make a building and one day they will come and say, oh, what is this, man? I don't want this entry. I don't want this big room. My room is very small. This one is very small. It's actually not be here. So that's that he has multiple stakeholders. Their acceptance of the design is a risk for me. And there is a risk owner who will take care of that risk and if the project is there. Unexpected results of geotechnical studies. At this moment, we don't have the geotechnical study. But we have a budget. We have a budget that we say that this much was the approximate amount which will be consumed for the project. But that is based on the standard foundation of it's an 11-story building, standard foundation of that foundation. What if had soil over here and be a dumping area in the recent thing very fast? And when we do the geotechnical studies, they recommend 5 foundations. How it was to go up. So it's a risk for me. So I have mentioned it that is a risk. Similarly, communication, because we are getting it designed by some international consultant as an architect based in Hong Kong. So it's a risk that how can they communicate with us? Their language is Chinese. We are over here, timing difference, understanding difference. We say 3 सूत्र के साथ 3 सूत्र का सरिया. They say T and 12 number. Okay, so there is a communication gap. There can be some problem. It's a risk for us. And delay in approval and audit. You know, we have a lot of approvals from NDA, from Federal Control. Committee is necessary high. We have taken from CDA also, from aircraft point of view. So all these risks we identified. There were all many also, but I just for the sake of introduction, I just bring just 4 or 5 of these. So that is the risk register and output of the identified risk, and we list down all the risks. What next? Next is qualitative analysis. That to these identified risks, we do a qualitative analysis. Remember, can every country can take part in the World Cup football? In the World Cup football tournament, there are 32 teams. Yes, there are 32 team qualification take part, but there are 180 countries. Everyone wants to take part in the World Cup. Why don't everybody come over here in the World Cup? Because they have a qualifying round. They say that we cannot allow every international team or who is not good to take part in the World Cup sort of event. So they do a qualitative analysis, a qualifying round before the tournament, and they pick and they select the top 32 teams, and these 32 teams then go to the final round of the World Cup, which is the World Cup tournament. Right? Similarly, for all the identified risks, we do a qualitative risk analysis to qualify the risk. Now remember one thing. Again, come back to the definition of the risk. What is the risk? We say that anything which can impact our goals, which can impact our targets to achieve. How to mathematically, you are engineers, you are good in numbers, right? You want to know the numbers. So how to give or relate a number to the risk? That is basically the probability. Earlier I gave you example that what is the probability I will live tomorrow? I said almost 90 or 95%. So that is the probability. So whenever you identify a risk, whenever you point out a risk, there is always a probability. That how much is the probability? I mean, if you say me, what is the probability for you to be live tomorrow? I say 95%. If I ask Dr. Nu, he will say no, 99%. Then maybe small change, but surely Dr. Nu will not say 0%. Right? So there is always a probability of that risk which you use your common sense and your professional experience and your judgment to allocate a number of probability in percentage. There are 40% chances that it will happen. There are 80% chances that it will happen. There is 0% chance it will not happen. Right? And the other attribute is the impact. What if that happens? What is the impact is going to have? Right? Going back to the assembly example, if I lost my wallet, what is the impact? Impact is huge. Impact is huge. One is financial loss. The other is the wasting in front of assembly. Right? They will say, come on man, you brought us over here up till here and you lost your wallet, what do we do now? So it's a huge impact. Right? So the product of probability and the impact, these two attributes give you the qualitative numerics, the qualitative And how do we do it? We do it in a way, in a matrix form, that for both of these two things, for probability and for the impact, in the probability we just make a probability scale. This scale can be varied within the organizations, within the different projects of the same organization, within the teams, but this is somehow this is somehow accepted by almost all the companies, or you can say it's the start of the thing. That anything whose probability is 0% to 30%, we say it's a low probability to do that. From 30% to 50%, we say it's medium probability. Medium to high probability is 50% to 70%. High probability is 70 to 90%, and greater than 90% that it will definitely occur. That patient in the ICU or with a ventilator when they have diabetes 290 and blood pressure 40 by 50, the probability is very high. So, other thing is the impact. Now please take care that impact, what is the basic thing which can be impacted in your project? We are talking about the project part of it, right? Your project managers. What is the basic thing which can go wrong in your project? There are only two things. One is the time, the other is the cost. Right? And time also translates into the cost. Right? Very simple example. For example, I take 10 minutes iron my shirt. Right? What is the cost of that project? 10 minutes multiplied by electricity charges, 10 minutes multiplied by my hourly rate, maybe 100 rupees. For example. What if I take not 10 minutes, I take 20 minutes for ironing the same shirt? Right? The product is same, both the same, but I don't take 10 minutes, I take 20 minutes. So I have to pay 20 minutes electric charges. I have to pay 20 minutes of my man hours, so my cost is double. So whenever there is a delay in the project, never think that you don't lost anything. You have already lost the money. It translates into money, right? Whenever there is a delay, keep reminding that for the same project, for the same product, you have already lost the money. So impact is basically in two terms. One is the budget, other is your time. If your budget impact is again, we rate it in the scale of 1 to 5. We give a score of 5. If that impact is 70% of the cost, I say my cost will be 70% more than the budgeted cost. I say it's a huge impact. Or I say that my project is delayed by 70% of its time. If its time was 1 month, 30 days, and it is going 70% of that. Beyond that point, I say it's a huge impact. Similarly, it's a very low impact. If I say only the 10% of the budget is extended, and maybe the 10% of the time extended, I say it's effective budget. So these two scales for the impact 1 to 5 and the probability from these 2 days will give us a number which is over here, which will identify or classify qualitatively. I am repeating the word qualitatively our risks. Multiplying impact again from that came from here 1 to 5, 1 to 5. Probability 10, 30, 50, 70, 90% comes from here. These cells are the product of this 10% into 1.1, 30 into 0.1.3. So and this giving a number is basically a common sense, is your expert judgment, is your professional knowledge, is a teamwork again. 2 or 3 people may differ on that one, but ultimately they will come across some negotiation. Okay, not 14 or 1300, but and at the end we will come across these numbers associated with the risk, and we say that all the risks which are on the green, these are low risk. Just इनको बहुत चीज़ पे रखते हैं, इनको ध्यान रखें, इनको नज़र से ओझल ना होने दें. Just take care of these, keep a watch on them, but don't spend too much money and time on that. The yellow risks and the orange ones, these are moderate risks. Select them for the risk response planning. Do the risk response planning for them. That if these occur, what will we do? For the red, these are the top risks, and do the quantitative analysis. The World Cup football, the qualifying round, the teams which won that qualifying round, they are selected for the final round. So the risks which are qualified based on this matrix are qualified to go in the next step of quantitative analysis. Right? Quantitative analysis, what is that all about? Okay, we have these 5 risks, okay, any risk, and by working along with my team, along with my friend, we came that risk number 1 has a 70% probability and it impacts is scale number 5, so the probability is 3.5. Similarly, risk 2 has a 60% probability, it has an impact in 3, the product is 1.8, risk number 3 is 4, 5. So all these 5 risks with different probability and different impacts have a risk value, and this is how I rate these risks. Risk number 3, highest value, it goes to 4.5. This is qualified for the next step, which is quantitative analysis. Risk number 1, I just risk 1 and 4, 5, I just have a watch on them, but will not do the quantitative analysis like this. Risk number 2, leave it, no problem. This is my project. When we defined the risks, I calculated, or we calculated actually as a team, what are the impacts of that one, what are the probability of occurrence, and on the same step, one more step of risk category has been added, which was as a result of qualitative risk analysis. So all this is the highest qualified risk which I need to take care. This I don't take care of, right? And the yellow and orange ones, I'll keep an eye, a watch on them throughout the project. Now, step number 5. What is the quantitative risk? Quantitative risk analysis from the word called quantitative is to quantify number. Quantify करें. Quantify means over here that you make a cost allocate होता है. इसकी value क्या है? कितने पैसे लगते हैं? होगा क्या? So it calculates a number to a risk, a financial number. पैसों का नंबर. यानी इतना रुपए का लगेगा. इतने करोड़ रुपए लग जाएंगे. Quantitative risk analysis is completed on prioritized risk from qualitative analysis. Remember that one, that all the risks need not to go or qualify to do this quantitative, because in quantitative analysis we do a proper POQ, we do a proper costing, we take the quotations, we take the pricing, and we come up with a financial figure that if this risk happens, we have to incur this much amount for that. So you cannot do that analysis for all the risks. It's a laborious thing. It takes time, it takes your time, it takes your management time. So only the risks which are qualified over here in those red marks, you do a quantitative analysis. Based on the risk and impact, probability of them, schedule and cost are created for these risks. You create the schedule and cost that if this will happen, this much additional cost will be incurred and this much additional time will be required. The more negative risks that occur within a project, the greater chance of delays and increased costs. Key benefit of the project that it gives the project risk exposure. Exposure means the exposure in terms of cost and exposure in terms of time. I gave you the example of my head office project, the red one, which was geotechnical. If there is any problem with the geotechnical side, we calculated for that risk, so that was 4.5. We calculated that if that risk occurs, I have to spend extra 107 million PKR. I did, or we actually did in the department, this figure came up along with a rigorous analysis. We took the quotation from a filing contractor that if these are the files, what will you do? We did the material calculation, we did the services calculation. We just tentatively initial basic design to make a budgetary design that how many files we need for that one, and with that we came out with this figure. Just imagine, I think it took us almost 1 month to come up with this figure for one risk. What if I have to do this thing for all those 5 risks? So no need. You just need to do this quantitative analysis for the risks which are qualified, which are in the red zone. Now you have come up a figure, you identify the risks. Among the risks you run a qualitative analysis. There was one risk in the red mark, and for that one risk you did a quantitative analysis. You came across with a figure of 107 million. What next? Here I take a break and I take you to the Dr. Aksa course of project management. How the budget of a project or the estimation of a project is done. What you do? different. Make a BOQ of a project. For example, if you're making a house, you make a BOQ that I will use the bricks, I will use the cement, I will use the sand, I have woodwork, I have steel work, I have plumbing material, I have electrical material, I have cables, I have plastering wire, I have paint, I have fall filling, and all these things. You just chop down all the things, make a list, make a quantity, again these quantities, use the unit rates, multiply them, you have the cost of everything, and in the end you have a total cost of your project. This is how the project costing is done, right? Everybody is familiar with this, right? This is how the project costing is done. During the costing, what do you do? For example, I need 7,000 bricks in my room. Do we order 7,000 bricks? No. We may order 7,500 bricks. Or we may estimate our cost 7,000 or 400 bricks. If I need 1,000 cement bags, I will not take the cost of 1,000 cement bags. I'll make maybe 10% more or 5% more just to have a cushion. So whenever you make a project, whenever you are doing the costing, you increase some activity margin in that one. And with that one, you come up with a work package cost estimate. This is the project estimate. That this is my estimate, which includes 10% more quantities. Within these work packages, there comes, if you add contingency reserve. This contingency reserve is the one which comes from the risk assessment, right? This project budget does not allow you or does not give you margin to spend your time or any cost for the risks, right? So if you make a BOQ and you estimate the cost of your project based on the activities, don't think it's final, it will all will be run. If any risk overcome over there, surely you cannot complete in that one, you need to have some contingency. So that 107 million, it will come over here, it will be a contingency reserve plus your project basic cost, it will become the project cost baseline. This is in project management terminology, we call it a project cost baseline or the cost of project baseline, simple as that. But remember, management is always very intelligent. The stakeholders are very intelligent. They say, no, Shoaib, you have estimated $107 million over here for the list. Surely there will be something which you have missed. Surely there will be something which you have missed and you have to spend on that one. And they say, okay, take something over and above which is named as management reserves. What is the difference between contingency reserves and the management reserves? As I am the project manager, you are the project manager, you have a full right and authority to use these contingency reserves. This is your project cost, and if that risk occurs, you have full authority to use these contingency reserves without the approval of your management. But if you have to use the management reserves, you have to take an approval from your board of management. And believe you me, that's not going to be nice to you. You have to listen to music, right? You will say that, sorry sir, I have this that list, I did not want to see that one, and I have to request some money. Give me something, I'm already consumed over here. Give me something from here, if you have that. And it will not be good meeting, surely, right? So that is, and that altogether comes up to the project budget. This is our project. And in this one, just imagine today's topic of risk management. What if you don't have this thing? This is what risk management tells you to add up in your project. If you miss that one, surely you'll have to face it. And in our case, it was 107 million BTR. Risk response plan. Risk response plan means there are two words. One is response, another is plan. Response means what would you do? The reaction of the action. What would you do if that is? And the other word is plan. This means that you are not going to do anything more. You are just going to plan what you do. And there are some strategies to plan the risk. There are some strategies, some procedures defined by risk management that how to tackle your risk. And these are, it's all about the options. That what would you do if that is occurs, if that is occurs. How to strategize that. I will come to the next slide where you will see that there are different strategies to address various risks. we come across the word of a risk, it's an inheritance thing, and instinctively we say that, or we imagine that it's a negative thing. Not all the risks are negative. Whenever there are risks, just see it's a negative or positive. It's a negative risk, try to avoid that one. And if it is a positive risk, try to grab that, try to achieve that one, because it will give you benefit. So both parts are basically for the risk. And the risk response plan, it also tells you that who will do what. This person will tell you that specifically the Shoaib responsibility is this one, Dr. Aqsa's responsibility is this one, or who will do what. It will come over here. What are the strategies for the if there is a risk that you identify, you qualitative analysis, you make a figure of that one, how different risks are now addressed, how to tackle these. These are the how to tackle them. The first is the escalate. Surely there will be something which are beyond your powers. I'm not saying the physical powers, I'm saying the managerial powers. I'm the project management. I have the authority to use the project budget, but I don't have the authority to use CEO's car, right? I don't have authority to order my CEO's driver. I don't have authority to use his office. So there are some tasks, there are some activities which are beyond my hierarchy. So if you see as a project manager, you see a risk which is beyond your project domain or beyond your define, then you escalate it to your boss. You say, you tell sir, this is a risk which you identified. This is not in my domain, but you have to do something at your level. Right? You have to do something over here. Other thing is avoid. Avoid means, the people living in the villages, there are always two ways to go back home. One is the barren land, going from the barren lands or the mountains. Wherever is shorter. The other way is the long road, 5-10 kilometers an hour. Okay? So if you take the long route, you will avoid the dacoits and the unsafety on the short. So that is the avoidance. Just skip that. So you just avoid that one. If you find anything, but it's not the case that all the time you can find and you can avoid the risk. But it's one of the strategies. Sometimes you just avoid it. I'm coming from the house is near Rhyming Road. So I had two options to come over here. One is along the canal road, the other is along the ring road. So I opted ring road. I avoided the risk of traffic blockage in the canal. So that is the avoidance, right? Other is the transfer. Transfer of the risk. What is the meaning of transfer? Transfer of risk means, remember, if I have to draw say 1 million or 2 million from my account, I'll go to the bank, I'll go in my card, take the cash, check, take the cash, look over there, come in my vehicle, lock the vehicle and go back. What if I have to transfer 50 million or 100 million cash from one place to the other? I will hire that security guys, that security company, right? That burglar car, I will hire that one. If somebody to manage those guys, I have this much of money and I have a threat. Okay. So just can you please do it for me, take it from the bank and drop it to my house over there, to my safe. They will say, okay, we'll take this money. So what do? You just transfer your risk of being wrong to the other party. Now if that money is lost, you will surely get back from that, because this is your job. You have transferred your risk over there. Next is the mitigate. Mitigate means that you just reduce the extent of that risk by somehow. Okay, by increasing some financial effort, by employing some other expert people, or by any means. You just reduce the impact of that risk and say, okay, now we do that. And the last is the accept. You say, well, if I have to go there, there's nothing left, I'll accept it. I have to do that. Right? So these are the strategies which are for the risk response strategies. So any of the risks can be catered by using any of these strategies in the process. The last is the monitor and control. Monitor and control is basically the full umbrella over this process. The risk management process is the full umbrella. It's a collective work of all the risk department. They keep track of identified risks. They keep the residual risk. Residual risk is when you address that's a risk. It's not the case that it 100% eliminates. There is small portion of that which is still lies. That is all the rest. And during the process of the risk, there may be some new risk coming. So all these processes, all these things has to be addressed in this monitor and control risk. And in the final, in the end, you can close out risks that are low risk. Sometimes it happens that during the course of the project, some risks which you identified in earlier stages, somehow they just don't appear. So just you just eliminate those risks, right? So that's all from my side. So any questions or any explanations further required? Right? Forum is open to you guys.
Any example of positive risk in construction of a building?
Positive risk of the yes. I'll give you an example of my boss back in Qatar. He was a Somali guy. He was constructing his very important. He was constructing his house back in Somalia, a very remote land. And in his hometown, there were no Paka bricks. They were just clay bricks made by him. What he did, when he was civilian, what he did, that when he went back to over there in his hometown, he just employed 2 people, gave them the formwork, gave them the cement, and gave them some brush, and asked them, okay, what you do, you need to mix these up, fill this form. After 3 years, remove the forms, make these bricks, and do them. So he made these bricks by himself. Okay, and it was so successful that brick making was it became his business. He used to sell the bricks. So in the house making, he was having to face the problem of not having the strong bricks. He took it as an opportunity and turned it into an opportunity and turned it into. So this is a positive risk, right? Not having a bricks or not having a qualified material is a positive risk. So I mean this sort of thing, risk you can surely have in your field in any aspect, right? Any more? Inflation. Inflation is a risk, but for project manager, it may not be that important. It goes into the managerial risk because once you are given with the project, you are assigned a project budget also. So within that budget, you say that yes, I will complete that. However, during the course of the project, larger project, 1 year or 2 years, the prices due to inflation go high. So how to cover that one? What you do is that sometimes when you, for example, if you are going to buy cement and you are forcing that the prices will go, you contract with DC Cement or this company that take cash from me right today and make sure that I will use these 1,000 or 2,000 bags in 1 year, and you have to give me on the same price. So these sort of strategies you need to do sometimes if you see that.
Chairman of Civil Engineering Department to come to the podium and give some concluding remarks.
engineers to be made. So these 26 years of experience you are getting in 1 hour, that is an opportunity you have to harness this. So in whatever field you go, you may be not knowing which field you will follow. You will be going to project management, or you will be going to design office, or you will be making your own business. These lessons are applicable over there. Even during your course of studies over here, if you consider ESAT, continuous activity cannot be in between. So consider what are the risks to you in this project. Cost overrun can be possible, time overrun is possible. So unknowingly you are doing risk management, but if you do it explicitly, if you do it knowingly, make a matrix, make a list of the risks, find how you can avoid it. That will be a wonderful experience that you can use in your lifelong processes also. So we are thankful to Shoaib Sarwar for his valuable knowledge transfer. That is the continuous activity. Inshallah, we will be having him again sometime. And, thanks for the students also for participating. Thanks for our organizing team. Thanks for the host of the event and Madam Aksa and Fazal and all those who have contributed in this effort. With this, I ask our guest speaker to join on tea and seminar is concluded. Okay, we have a souvenir or a shield for our guest speaker. I request him to join and request the senior teachers to join with me to deliver this souvenir. Yeah, sir. Nice one. We can have a group photo.